Welcome to another episode of Conversations with Neighbors. Today on the show, I'm joined by Joe. How do you say it?
Derochie.
Derochie, owner of Orangetheory Fitness in Newmarket, as well Whitby, and the 2019 Young Professional of the Year. Shout out that. Recognized by the Newmarket Chamber of Commerce. Joe's not just helping people, he's helping them crush their goals through fitness, nutrition, and community. With a background in health and physical education from Queen's University and years of experience in marketing and management, Joe has built studios that are more than gyms. They're community hubs of motivation, connection, and real transformation. From hosting 5Ks that raise thousands for local causes to mentoring the next generation of changemakers, Joe's mission is clear: build stronger people, build stronger communities. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
What an intro, eh?
What an intro.
So let's just start with, I guess you went to Queen's.
Yep.
I went to Kingston too, but I was down the road at little St. Lawrence College.
Yeah.
But we still went to the same bars and restaurants in that area. How was your experience in Queens?
I thought it was great. I mean, it was obviously, as you know, it was a ton of fun, very university college town. Yeah. So, I mean, you can get into trouble if you wanted to, but the school itself was great. The program was phenomenal. I really liked that it felt like a community within the community. Everything was so close, walkable, and just being around, like, I was on the hockey team, so being around just like-minded guys through the entire experience was super cool for me.
Yeah, we actually just had a high school intern at Neighbor Media from January to June, and he's going to Queen's in September. He got it. We were there for his whole experience of like, that's where he wanted to go. He didn't think he was going to get in, but he's going to go do business there. And I said to him, when you go into stages, I want you to look at that and know that I have DJ'd there.
Actually?
I DJ'd there 3 nights. I DJ'd there. And then I went home one weekend, and the guy that I DJ'd with, he went and did a house party and got the DJ table stolen. And that was the end of it.
And that's where the dream died?
That's where the dream died. Actually, we came back. I did a little bit more, but that's where the dream truly died. And so graduate from there. And so you're always into fitness, health.
Yep. What
leads to Orangetheory, that brand, and opening up your first one?
Yeah, it's interesting. Throughout my journey at Queen's, my end game was always physiotherapy. I was like, I've been around it just through the athletics, and I've probably spent more time than I ever care to admit in a physiotherapy clinic, just from injuries and rehab. But that was where I wanted to be. I was like, I'm around athletes. I'm kind of in the fitness space, but that was the end game. And then going through the process, the more I started going through it, I was like, I need something a little bit more, I don't want to say if intense is the right word, but I need something a little bit more upbeat in my life. Yeah,
I think intensity too. I was going to say like where progression happens, but progression happens in physio.
Yeah.
But it's coming from an injury start or in some sense, not like you're at a level 7 out of 10, let's get you to a 9, you know?
Yeah,
so.
I was more interested in the other end of the performance of like the maximal stuff, right? So that was kind of where my passion was. So as I was working through it, I was like, I don't know if this is for me. So I graduated, and then I applied just as a fail safe. And then I ended up just taking time off to kind of reassess what I wanted to do. And I got into personal training, and I had always been in the gym, worked out, but I never really spent too much time helping too many other people. And then I fell in love with that side of it, being more hands-on. And then just coincidentally, the gym that I was working at, the owner had to go out for some pretty intensive neck surgery. He was getting like 2 disc fused in his neck or something. So he basically handed me the keys to this gym. It was like it's a mom and pop gym. He's like, I need you to run this for me for X amount of months while I'm in rehab. I need you to take over all the clients and also kind of handle the back end of stuff. And I didn't have a really strong business background at the time. So I was like, oh my God.
Yeah. How old are you at that time?
I was 23.
Yeah. Wow.
So I took, before Queen's, I took 3 years off to go play hockey. So I was 23 at the time, which I will say helped me probably at Queen's because I was a little bit more mature going into it at like 20, 21 instead of 18, 19.
Yeah, for sure.
And then I fell in love with that side of the business.
But still, 23 for it to be like, here's the keys to the gym, you know, like it is.
It felt overwhelming.
Yeah.
But I liked it because it was just a space that I felt so comfortable in. And I ended up falling in love with that side of the business just as much, being as hands-on as possible with the personal training side. But obviously you see where you can make more money.
Yeah, definitely. You could, the eyes of opportunity open up a bit more, you know, where really you are trading time for money in like a straight personal training type role of it, right? Yeah. Now you could charge a lot, but you're still going to be attached to an hourly wage of it, where then now you can you're looking at a business more holistically, where there's more pieces to the puzzle too. And, you know, sky's kind of the limit once you see that.
Yeah. And that's exactly what happened. I was just thinking there has to be something bigger and better out there for me to do. I'm still trying to find my way of what I really want to sink my teeth into. And it was like almost like the stars aligned kind of for me. I have a business partner who lives out west. And just so happens when I was taking this time to look into what else is out there in the fitness space, I don't have a business background. Franchising is probably the best thing for me because they'll give you the blueprint to success as long as you obviously believe in the product. I get an email from the faculty at Queen's. If anyone's interested in this business opportunity to own a fitness franchise, Orangetheory, here's a contact. And the rest was history. I always believed in like HIIT training, Metcons as like my style of training for sure. So the more I dove into what Orangetheory was and realized that that's kind of what it centered around.
Was Orangetheory established at that time? Like, what's the history of Orangetheory? Was it just coming up to Ontario? Was it started in Ontario? Like, what's the...
Yeah, so it started it down in the States in Florida. Fort Lauderdale was where studio number 1 is. At the time that I was looking at it, so let's say that was like 2014, it was just kind of making its way out east in Canada. It was kind of had already been a little bit established out west in Edmonton, where our Canadian master franchise is. There was probably maybe like 10 studios at the time.
Yeah.
And then there was one in Ontario in Burlington. So like, well, I got to go try this firsthand to at least see what it's all about. And being naive, and I was like, I'm an athlete.
Yes.
How hard could it be? I've been training my entire life. There was that stipulation at the time that it was group fitness, right? Typically when you say that, your mind goes to like jazzercise or something.
Zumba.
Yeah, something like that, right? Where it's like, yeah, it'll be tough, but manageable.
Yes.
And I'm...
Especially from I'm an athlete, you know.
100%, right? The ego plays into it a little bit. And I'm like a full send kind of guy almost when I'm working out. And that's exactly what I did. And man, I came out of that place, was like, what just happened?
Yeah.
That was wild. It was a killer workout, and I just fell in love with the product itself. And just seeing like so many people from different walks of life in that one studio doing the same workout at the same time really captured my interest in seeing how that model was so like unique at the time, because you could have an athlete and then someone who'd never worked out a day in their life were doing the same things.
Yes.
Just paces that were well within our own fitness level, right? So it was super cool. And then from there, I was like, this is the brand for me. And we ended up, I don't know how in detail you want me to go, but we ended up flipping. Like I said, Kingston. So we ended up purchasing Kingston as our first territory back in the day.
Yep.
And as you know, university town, the more we kind of looked into the nitty gritty of getting up, starting Kingston, like maybe that's a bit of too much of a niche market to sink our teeth into.
Yeah.
And then funny enough, I'm from Sudbury, and I was working in the fitness space in Sudbury. I was like, oh, yeah, I could sell it in Sudbury. I know everybody here, right?
Yes.
So you kind of have, again, the blinders on a little bit.
Definitely. Yeah.
And then you look at Sudbury as a market, and I think there was one time there was a stat that it was the happiest city in Canada or something like that. But then if you look at the other end of it's like also the most obese. So it was like, fitness maybe isn't the best thing for this market. And then... we ended up picking some lower hanging fruit because pretty much all of Ontario was available, and landed on, Newmarket, Aurora, and Whitby.
Yeah. And so when did Newmarket, when did those locations open?
10 years ago, Newmarket.
Yeah.
And 9 years ago, Whitby.
Yeah.
So 2015, 2016.
And so you take the jump, you open those up, you're kind of like start to lay down your roots in those two core areas. What was the vision for it? Was it just, follow the blueprint, do the work, build it up? But was it something that you thought it was going to be something else, but you were quick to learn that it's something else? Like what's the early days? Like you're a decade into it now, so you have the reps and you have the battle scars as well. But what were those early days like, expectation versus reality?
Yeah, it's such a good question. Like for me, my background was fitness, right? So I hadn't really spent too much time managing people or on the back end of the business. So being a part of the franchise was super eye-opening just to see all the nuances and operating systems and everything, and how they work so intricately and seamlessly. I would say without the blueprint to 5, so I definitely followed the blueprint from, I would say the first 2 years was, it's proven to work. I don't have to deviate from that plan. Let's just follow it and go from there. And on the business side of things, that was great. Where I ran into like the most eye-opening things were probably like how to manage people.
Yeah.
Coming from like a sports athletic background, my family was always big into sports and athletics too. I just assumed that everybody was like me.
Yes.
Right. You'll get out of it what you put into it. So trying to find ways to like really keep people motivated all the time was challenging at first, and realizing that different people have different things that are going to make them tick and or set them off or make them feel great. So trying to really manage everybody individually instead of just as a whole took me probably longer than I wanted it to really kind of dive into figuring out how to make that work.
Yeah. And that's also a thing of like playing team sports too, or even being a leader on a team sports, like you're assistant captain and have that role. But everyone is collectively like wanting the same thing, right? So we kind of think like, oh, I know how to build team and lead a team, right? Yeah. But then you quickly learn like, oh, like people's incentives of what makes them tick, or what sets them off, and what their dynamic is, and this kind of thing is way different. And you can only learn that by just going through the fire of it.
Yeah, it was eye-opening and a great learning experience. And I'm by no means a professional at it now, but I definitely think I have a broader understanding of like how to handle those situations more appropriately, I would say.
And obviously Orangetheory is different because the whole setup of it and like tying to heart rate, and everyone can be doing the same thing, but you can adjust the dial because you're actually just watching your heart rate and getting into the zones like that. But you're like way ahead of the curve on that. Like now people are like, oh yeah, heart rate zones, zones 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and like what it should be like on a weekly cadence. And, it's like pretty much the core of your health too. Right. Yeah. But even for me personally, like I've only been thinking about that, and I've been an athlete my whole life, but I've only been thinking about that probably the last 3 years of like, where am I in the heart rate zones? And like, when am I touching those in physical activity of that too? But so that must be an eye opener for new people that come in, and just really be able to see in real time, like that measurement of going through workouts too, and seeing like gas pedal off and on, and what that does to their body, and how it can actually, the effects of that repeated over time. So just talk on that early in the heart rate zone game.
Yeah.
What's that like for people? And then as well, have you felt the momentum of, like, I would say in the culture of fitness, of people caring about it more?
Yeah, we were definitely the pioneers for heart rate monitor training and leveraging it throughout the workout instead of just using it as a tool where you could take a peek at and see where you were. Should I rest? Should I recover? Type stuff. Our workout is very scientifically based around getting your heart rate into specific zones for a certain amount of times. And like you said, it's super cool because you can see in real time someone sprinting, someone walking. Their heart rate says the exact same thing, but they're accomplishing the same thing just at paces that are well within their own fitness capabilities. So it's It's super cool. And I would say in the early days, the technology wasn't as strong as it is now, right? You'd use a general equation. We never really used the 220 minus your age. It gives you a decent estimate, but the variance is still pretty big. So our equation on our back end system was a little bit more dialed in, but it was just a static thing. Unless someone went and got tested, we could manipulate it. So the zones weren't completely accurate. And now as the brand kind of expanded the technology, now it's wild. Like
how dialed in it is.
It's dialed in.
Yeah.
So we'll give them an equation. The first one is obviously an estimate because we don't know what their baseline fitness levels are. But then every session, the back end system is going to pick up close to like 50,000 data points each workout. So the more frequently that they come, those zones are the variance gets narrower and narrower and narrower, where it's close to as your 100% accuracy as possible, which is super cool because some people, like you said, have no idea. There's undertraining just as much as there's overtraining. So you get the people that if you're only sending it at your 90% threshold every single time it come in, that's going to hinder your performance over time too, just as much as if you're never reaching past the 70% either, right? We got to find the balance within, like, there has to be a mix. Like you can't just do one, especially if you're going to really try to expand your overall fitness level. You have to do a little bit of everything, right? Yeah.
And I look at now as the center of my health is that, right? And, before it'd be like, ooh, I'm strong. Like, how's your heart doing?
How's your heart? It's the most important muscle in the body.
Yeah, and it's feeding everything else too. Even like when I got the new Whoop, like the updated one of it, it has the heart rates dialed in even more now too. And I'm like, I'm not pushing it. I need to be pushing it more, getting the heart rate up higher too. Like where before I would have thought the opposite too, where I was like, oh, I need to be in more zone 2 stuff. I'm like, you're cruising in zone 2 a lot. Like,
yeah, it's and it's interesting when you say, like, have we ridden the wave, right? It's like when we first came out, 2014 to let's say 2019, it was HIIT training was the buzzwords in the fitness industry, right? Heart rate training, HIIT training. Yeah. And that's exactly what Orangetheory does. So it was explosive, right? The brand exploded.
For sure.
And we saw it too on a local level, right? It was great. And then COVID happened, and then it went from HIIT training to don't breathe too heavy, and don't breathe next to anybody, and don't get your heart rate up too much, right?
Yeah.
Which slowly translated into low impact exercise is the way to go. And now it has been, as you've seen over the past couple of years, strength. Yeah. Right? Strong is the new sexy. And now the trends, like you said, with the Whoop and the technology, everybody wants to see exactly what's going on with the good old ticker.
Yeah.
It's starting to switch back to Metcons and high intensity interval training and heart rate training all over again. I'm sure, like, we see it all the time. Remember, it's like I saw on TikTok zone 2, right? So you can definitely feel the wave of it coming back, where people are starting to fully appreciate the importance of.
Yeah, I think it's going to get even stronger too. Even just from my own experience, right, where I'm like, resting heart rate and HRV are like the only 2 metrics I care about now.
That's so fun.
And I'm like, how do, like, all the things that are changing in my life, like even like stress resilience and like recovery and stuff like that, and not drinking, and like just to be like, how can I get the HRV? And it's such a personalized number too, where it's like you're not comparing it to like what's your HRV, but like your own, and then like what's the trend of it too, and then just thinking about that too. So I think you're going to get like a secondary wave here that's going to be bigger than even the first one to it of it, because it's like your training is focused directly on that.
Yep.
Love it. So that's like inside of it too. I would say like that kind of technology style of training, big trend, but as well too, the community within your space too, right? The camaraderie, you see the same people too. Speak on that a little bit.
I would say, if you look at Orangetheory as a whole, obviously the franchise, everybody's delivering the same product across the board. What differentiates our studios is the culture and the community. We are huge believers that we need to make this the best 1 hour of somebody's day.
Yep.
The product speaks for itself. They're going to feel great when they come out. But how do we make every single person feel seen, recognized, and like they're a part of something bigger than just coming in and doing their 1 hour workout? So our community, I think, I mean, obviously I'm biased, but at both studios are second to none. The members, like you said, are going to see each other on a regular basis. Most people have a pretty consistent routine where you're working out with the same people, the same time slot every day, and now they're hanging out with each other afterwards, going runs outside the studio. So it goes well beyond just the four walls that we do. But I would say, like, we try and preach no reason to stay is a good reason to go. So the results, the workout's going to be great, but you can get a good workout anywhere, especially if you're self-motivated and kind of have a base knowledge. You can get a good workout. Yeah. But what's going to keep you coming? The experience and the community and the culture.
Yeah, for sure.
That's what we try and really elevate.
That's got to be like a part of the fabric of it. And it's like the little subtle things, but it's so important too.
Yep.
But it has the best like compounding effects too. And, the stronger the network within it too, like the stronger everyone is.
It doesn't take much. Like you're celebrating milestones, birthdays, personal bests, doing some member appreciation things, getting people outside the studio to like hang out and have a beer. And asking questions about how they're doing.
I was going to say, like, actually listening to people,
And just
caring.
Greeting them when they come in.
Caring about humans. It goes a long way.
Like you can go to some places, you scan a key fob.
Yes.
They don't even say hi.
Yeah, 100%.
It doesn't make you feel great.
No. And then I would say kind of the third pillar would be like community outside of the four walls, like community initiatives. You do a lot within the community too. Let's just touch on that, including the 5K. You did the first one last year. So how you think about that, why you think it's important, and like what's next for that phase?
Yeah, being involved in the community and helping is big for us. We have obviously a pretty large member base within the community. So being able to give back just to the people and the organizations that have helped us so much is very valuable. I don't know, we were talking a little bit about it before, but it's such a good way to help people see you out and about doing things without just, aside from seeing like an ad on Instagram or Facebook or your pylon sign when they're driving by, right? When people recognize that you care about them just as much as making a few extra bucks, I think it's very, very valuable.
Like humanizes the brand, the business too, right? Like, you see like the big brand, right? Orangetheory, right? It could be everywhere too, but like there's you behind it. There's actually people. There's you and the staff and the members that are actually create the business,
It definitely, it's what kind of fills our cup up behind the scenes, I would say. We like to give, but when we do those things, it kind of reinvigorates us and gives back to the staff a little bit too, knowing that they were such an integral part of helping, whether it was the food pantry, mental health in motion, Easter seals, whatever it is that we're sinking our teeth into. It's just those feel good moments that we really like to be a part of. So we try and be involved in all the local 5, 10K runs. We'll try and lead the warm up, and we'll try and raise money inside the studio through like fit fundraisers where if you give, let's say $10, you're going to make the coach do 100 burpees or something like that. So try and make it fun too. But we thought we could take it to another level and do our own, like raise what's our own kind of charity. We do like big ones like South Lake where we're kind of always doing things like that. But we're like, maybe there's an opportunity here where we can kind of really highlight our own charity that we think really needs help this year, raise some money for it and have some fun doing it. So we came up with, the Orange Crush 5K. We did our first one last year. So we try and pair it right around Halloween because obviously the Orangetheory, the colors kind of just work. There's not a ton of races going on at that point. So it's a good opportunity and the weather's not terrible. So we wanted to make it fun. So we do a 1K kids run at the start / Halloween costume contest, which was super cool to see the kids going full tilt in their costumes for the 1K. And then the adults actually too for the 5K, some of them wore costumes the entire time too.
That's fun.
Which was wild to see, like a guy in a pirate costume running like a 23-minute 5K or something like that. You're like, oh my God, that's insane. But I love it. And then, Halloween candy, some giveaways, some contests. But one of the reasons why we really want to do it was everything was just getting so expensive. Like a lot of the local races, the costs are going up and up and up, and you could be having to pay almost like $80 to $100 to go run a 5K, where we just wanted to make it eliminate as many barriers as possible, not make it too flashy, and really try and raise as much money as we possibly could for the charity while still delivering a great event. It's chip time too, so if people are serious and want to see if they can get a PB and all that stuff. But that was kind of the core. We really wanted to highlight a specific charity of our choosing, have some fun doing it, and then really lower the barriers of entry so that we can get as many people out to support the cause as possible.
Yeah, that's fun. I think that will be a good event that will build on itself, year after year. I like having the costume part of it as well too.
It's really funny.
I'm just thinking of it's not costume related though, but do you know Truett Haynes?
No.
Okay, you know Cameron Haynes? He's like a bow hunter.
Oh yeah.
His son, okay. He's like ripping running right now.
Is that the guy that ran it in jeans?
Jeans, yeah. Yeah. That's what made me think of it. I'm like, this guy ran he ran a half marathon in like 106.
I think he just ran the Boston too in jeans.
Yeah. But he's going to break 2:30 marathon. That's what his goal is. So he just did a half in an hour, 6 minutes in jeans, which is just bananas. He's an absolute animal. He also has the world pull-up records in 24 hours. 10,001 pull-ups.
I can't imagine.
Yeah.
That's wild.
And then community involvement, you've been, I don't know if it's public knowledge yet, but you've been topped for the lip sync battle coming up. Is that, obviously that's going to be a big step for you, going on the big stage, but.
Yeah, I mean, we were at bike day and Lynette was there, just hanging out, minding my own business. And I could see her kind of lurking a little bit closer. And I told she had something on top of her mind. I was like, what's up? She's like, I thought this might be good for you guys because you guys are going to be pretty full tilt. And we've never done anything like that before. I mean, I was living back to my childhood days of some of the boy bands that I was rocking out to. And I'm like, you know what? This could be a ton of fun. A little bit nerve-wracking for sure to be on stage doing that. But I think I can get some of our coaches involved. They're performing every day with the headsets on in front of people. It'll just be another day for them. But it's for such a great cause, right? I had no idea that victim services are doing what they are doing. So we're super stoked to be a part of it and help raise money for them. But yeah, I'm a little nervous. But you were one Dancing with the Stars. You got any tips or advice here?
Anxiousness and excitement are the same feeling. Just all about mindset going into it. Yeah, like it's nerve-wracking, but it's for a good cause. Preparation is key. You want to be prepared before going out there. I think you could settle a lot of nerves if you've put in the reps before too. With the dancing of it, right? We learned to dance for, I think it was like 8 weeks leading up to it. One lesson for a week for 8 weeks. So by the time I got there, I was like, oh, I can do this dance. Okay. So I would say prep and know it's for a good cause, and anxiety and excitement are the same path.
All right.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show today. And we'll put everything you got going on in the show notes and, spread the word of all the good things that you got going on. And anyone interested in getting a good workout with a good culture and good community, go check out Orangetheory.
I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
All right. Bye-bye.